$25,000. That's what the company NanoCheQ walked away with after convincing the panel at a Shark Tank-style event last month. CEO of the company, Nitish Peela, along with CEO of Startup Tucson, the event sponsor, are here to talk all about it. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So Nitish, I want to talk about your company here in just a second, but Liz, starting with you, give us a little context about this competition.
Sure. So Idea Funding has been in the community for over 20 years. It's an annual conference as part of our 10 West Festival, sponsored by Startup Tucson and kind of run by our team and then a group of great volunteers. And really thankful to Cox Business for coming in as our $25,000 prize sponsor for the grand prize competition.
Yeah.
So we invited over 28 startups to compete the day of the event, and Nitish is our grand prize winner.
Well, congratulations. That's one heck of a prize, and I'm sure you had some stiff competition. So Nitish, NanoCheQ is the name of your company. Tell us a little bit about what the point of NanoCheQ is.
Right. We actually make bacterial diagnostic devices for beer and winemakers,
which, as we all know, has just become more and more popular. The beer, the microbreweries, you know, the special wines, etc. So why do breweries actually need bacterial testing?
Yeah, I mean, beer making is actually a really fermented process. So when you're making beer, there's like a lot of yeast, a lot of bacteria. And with all these home brewers and craft brewers coming out with their own beers, a lot of them aren't focusing on food safety.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where NanoCheQ comes in. We help beer makers, winemakers, and general food and drink producers make sure their food is safe to drink.
Well, obviously a lot of science behind this, right? What's your background?
I was a biomedical engineer at ASU.
Okay.
So,
well, see, that makes a lot of sense.
And I also love beer.
So good experience with beer.
Right.
That's
exactly.
important. So there is such a thing as good bacteria in beer and also bad, right?
Exactly.
Is that the idea?
Mm-hmm.
And also in wine.
Exactly.
Why wine?
Wine essentially has the same problem.
Okay.
At the starting of making wine, you put a lot of yeast inside.
Okay.
And it's pretty much breeding grounds for all sorts of different bacteria that you don't want to get in there.
Right. And what was the genesis behind this idea? I mean, I know you said you're a beer lover, but what made you think that the industry really needs something like this?
Well, one of my friends actually makes wine pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. And every time I would have his wine, it was always contaminated. It would taste putrid, it would taste bad. So I just kind of wanted to help him out.
And that's where it came from, of course. And we saw some screenshots of it on an iPad. Is that the idea, is to make it into an app for businesses, companies to be able to use it easily? Yeah,
we want to make sure that anybody, no matter how small or how big you are, can use the product.
Wow.
So simple analysis on an iPad application or iPhone application is where it's going to end up in the future.
Right, ease of use. They're going to be able to download it from an app store very easily on any platform. Of course, they'll need some sort of hardware, I imagine, too, to go along with that. What was your experience pitching at Startup Tucson? It must have been a little nerve-wracking, unless you prepared really well.
Right, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but the organizers, Liz, and everybody else did do a really great job. There's like 400 people, 500 people there.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, you feel like everyone's, we're like kind of rooting for you, no matter which company it is. So
yeah, no matter what stage of the development of the company that you're in. Liz, what made NanoCheQ stand out from the rest?
So I think the judges were really impressed with the way NanoCheQ has built up their customer base so far and kind of their trajectory so far. I mean, Nitish has only been working on the project since since January of 2017. So he's really in the early stage of a startup life cycle, and he's proven with his team a lot of really great progress so far.
Right, right. And like I said, there was probably stiff competition, right? You said how many other businesses went
Very stiff
up against?
competition. So we had over 80 applicants to pitch this year. 48 of them were invited to participate in a pitch training that we did a few weeks ahead of time, and then 24 were invited to participate on that final day. We had 3 rounds of morning pitch competitions with 6 finalists making it to the main stage for the $25,000.
Amazing. So before we go, Nitish, what will this $25,000 do for NanoCheQ?
Right, so we have a couple of big orders with some big beer companies.
Yeah.
And we just need to kind of scale up our manufacturing process to meet them. So this $25K from Cox is going to go directly to meet these orders.
Fantastic. And we can't say the beer companies yet. I'm sure you guys will be making an announcement at some point in the future. But again, congrats to you and your team. Of course, Startup Tucson, you guys do incredible work helping these startups really build up. And that's the whole idea, is to help local Arizonans really succeed in the workplace and in business. So thank you both so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, to learn more about this innovative company, you can shoot an email to info@nanocheq.com, or of course visit nanocheq.com.